Alrighty, let's a testy. The microphone levels, testing. Alrighty. Okay, Sophie, we're about to record. It's time to be quiet, okay? And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, my Richies, and welcome back to another episode of the Make Life Rich Movement podcast. My name is Sara. I'm your host. And in today's episode, we are going to be doing something a little different. If you have not been living under a rock in America, you're aware of how absolutely divided the country is right now. And it's safe to say that we are all very uncomfortable. And I thought today it might be a good idea to take a step back from a podcast episode and offer everyone a guided visualization. So I'm going to do just that. And today's guided visualization is going to be about loving your enemies in real life. This was a visualization I needed to make for myself. So I state that to say that I am right there with you if you find yourself in the mires of trying to love, if not at the very least, respect those that are different from you and have different thoughts from you and different beliefs from you. And if you need help on that journey, I hope that this guided visualization will help to get you there. So without further ado, we're going to jump right in. There are going to be 3 questions that you will answer and reflect on in a journal before we get started. So I'm going to give you those now, and you can feel free to pause, write them down, and then do them. And then when you're finished completing the prompts, come back on in, push play, and then we'll get started with the visualization. So, first question: who in your life feels like an enemy right now? Someone who has hurt, betrayed, or opposed you? And what emotions arise when you think of this person, and how carrying these feelings affected your own peace and spiritual growth? So that's prompt number 1. Prompt number 2. What would it mean for you to personally truly love someone who has caused you pain? How might your life change if you could see this person through God's eyes rather than through the lens of your own wounds? Third question: if you believe that God can work through all situations for good, how might your relationship with this challenging person be an opportunity for you and your own spiritual evolution? What qualities might God be inviting you to develop through this difficult relationship? Yeah, tough, guys, tough. It was tough for me too, I have to say. It was definitely something I really had to force myself to accept. That if I wish to see peace in the world, I have to first be extending it to those that I want to give it to the least. And I think this will help us on our journey of that. So just a few bits of information. This is going to be about a 30 to 40 minute long visualization. You want to get comfy if you can. I definitely don't recommend driving, but hey, if you're a productive individual and you're listening at your desk or you're driving, just be mindful that you might get, really relaxed. You could feel a barrage of emotions coming out of you just with things that we're going to process. And I want you to be safe. So take caution. Also, if you're a fidgety individual, You may want to grab, maybe you have like a rock. I am a beach. I live by the beach. I collect beach rocks. This was a really cool quartz that I found on the beach this summer. So I hold this guy sometimes when I'm doing it, just have something to rub on so I'm not fidgeting too much. There is a lot of emotional processing that happens, and sometimes there's some physical accompaniments to that. I also will hold my prayer beads, so they're just something I can fiddle around with if I'm feeling that antsy energy. So do what feels best for you. Have something nearby if that's something you think you might need. Alrighty, so we are going to start by finding a comfortable position that allows you to feel both grounded on earth and connected to the divine. And I want you to place your hands over your heart and take a moment to acknowledge the courage it takes to even consider loving someone who has hurt you, who is different than you, who has opposing beliefs than you, who may even wish you harm. And let's begin by connecting with the source of all love, breathing in the infinite compassion that God has for every soul, including yours. Fill those lungs up. Fill that diaphragm, that stomach up. And breathing out any hardness or bitterness that has accumulated around your heart. Again, we're going to breathe in divine love, feeling it fill every cell of your being. And breathe out the burden of resentment that has been weighing you down. This practice is one of the most challenging and transformative journeys a human soul can undertake, learning to love those who have hurt us. Yet this is also how we participate most fully in God's work of healing the world around us and within ourselves. When we learn to love our enemies, we don't just transform our own hearts, we become instruments of divine grace. And you and I both deserve that. We're going to do that here today. Within you lives the same divine spark that animates every human being, including those who have wounded you. Today's journey is about recognizing the shared divinity and allowing it to transform your understanding of what it means to be human. And you can feel free here to close your eyes and get comfortable, whether that's laying down, sitting with your legs crossed, or in a comfortable chair. Your enemy, whether they know it or not, has been serving as your teacher, offering you the opportunity to develop qualities that cannot be cultivated any other way. Unconditional love, radical forgiveness, and unshakable faith in God's goodness. As we begin, know that you are not alone in this work. The same divine presence that walked among tax collectors and sinners, that forgave from the cross, that sees the sacred in every soul. This presence is with you now, ready to show you how to love what seems unlovable. This practice today is not about condoning harmful behavior or making yourself vulnerable to further hurt. It's about freeing your heart to love as God loves, unconditionally and transformatively, while maintaining healthy boundaries and wise discernment. We're going to begin the visualization within the sacred chamber of your heart. Begin by imagining yourself entering a sacred chamber deep within your heart, a holy space where divine love dwells eternally. This chamber glows with warm golden light that represents God's unconditional love for all creation. As you settle into this sacred space, you notice that some areas are flowing freely with love and light, while other areas seem blocked or darkened. These shadowed places represent the relationships where your heart has closed due to hurt or betrayal. In the center of this chamber stands a beautiful altar, and upon it rests an open book. This book contains God's perspective on every relationship in your life, including the most challenging ones. A record and understanding of every trespass you have taken and every one that you have forgiven. Approach this altar and ask for divine guidance. God, show me how to see my enemy as you see him. Help me understand the purpose of this relationship as it serves in my spiritual growth and in the healing of our world. Immediately you hear, every soul you encounter is walking their own journey of healing. Those who hurt others are themselves deeply wounded. Your enemy is not your opposite. They are your unconscious brother or sister, seeking the same love you seek. Instantly, you know that future you has left you this message. The you that is unburdened with hatred and resentment for those not like them. The future you that has let go of every resentment and judgment against their enemies. The future you that is waiting for you to join them. Feel how this truth lands in your heart. Your enemy is not inherently evil. They are a fellow human being who has forgotten their divine nature, acting from their own unhealed wounds and fears. Immediately again, you feel another truth in your heart. God has placed this person in my life not as punishment, but as a gift. Through learning to love them, I'm going to discover depths of compassion I never knew existed within myself. Through this, I will become more like Jesus. Take a moment to sit with this possibility that your most difficult relationship might actually be one of God's greatest gifts to your spiritual evolution. Feel both the challenge and the profound opportunity that this represents for your life here on earth and in eternity. From the sacred chamber, we now walk through the gallery of wounds and wisdom. A doorway opens to reveal the gallery of wounds and wisdom, a space where you can examine your relationships with your enemies through the lens of divine understanding. Entering this gallery, you immediately see the first exhibit, titled The Wounding. Here, you can observe, without reliving, the specific ways this person has hurt you. But now, you see these wounds illuminated by divine light, revealing how they have also served your growth. As you examine your wounds with God's help, you begin to see how they have developed your empathy, your strength, your capacity for forgiveness. You understand that while the pain was real, it has not been meaningless. You then move on to the second exhibit, titled The Mirror. Here, you see how your enemy reflects aspects of your own shadow, parts of yourself you've rejected or denied. Perhaps they show you your own capacity for anger, selfishness, or fear. This recognition does not excuse their harmful behavior, but it helps you to understand that they are not fundamentally different from you. You both carry the capacity for both good and harm, both love and fear. The third exhibit is called The Hidden Gifts. Here, you discover the unexpected ways this difficult relationship has blessed your life. Perhaps it has strengthened your faith, clarified your values, or taught you to rely more deeply on God's love. In the final exhibit, The Divine Purpose, you see how your relationship with this person serves not just your individual growth, but the evolution of human consciousness itself. Every act of forgiveness, every moment of choosing love over hatred and fear, contributes to the healing of our collective wounds. Stand in this final exhibit and feel yourself as part of something much larger than your personal story. You are participating in humanity's journey toward greater love, compassion, unity, and respect. Beyond the gallery lives the transformation chamber, a sacred space within the heart where God's love actively transforms your perception of your enemy. Step into this chamber filled with brilliant, healing light. In the center of this chamber, you see two figures standing in separate circles of light, yourself and your enemy. Currently, there is distance between you, representing the separation created by hurt and misunderstanding. Invite God's presence to fill the space completely. Feel divine love surrounding both you and your enemy, revealing the truth that you are both beloved children of the same Creator. As you stand in God's love, begin to see your enemy as they truly are beneath their woundedness. A soul who came into this world innocent and pure, who learned to protect themselves through the very behaviors that have hurt you. Ask God to show you your enemy's pain, not to excuse their actions, but to understand the suffering that drives their harmful behavior. See them as a child who never learned how to love properly, who is still seeking the very thing they push away through their actions. Now imagine divine light flowing from God's heart directly into your heart, filling you with supernatural love. Love that doesn't depend on the other person's behavior. Love that exists simply because God loves through you. Feel this divine love expanding within you until it reaches beyond your own circle of light and begins to touch the space where your enemy stands. You are not trying to change them. You are simply allowing God's love to flow through you. As this love touches your enemy, you may see them begin to soften, to remember their own divine nature. Whether they change in the physical world or not, something profound shifts in the spiritual realm. The walls between you two begin to dissolve. Take a moment now to speak from your heart to theirs. I see your pain. I recognize our shared humanity now. And I choose to love you as God loves you. Not because you deserve it based on your actions, but because you deserve it as one of God's children. And giving you this love is helping me to become more loving. Feel the liberation in your own heart as you make this choice. You are free, not because they changed, but because you chose to love beyond conditions, to forgive beyond reason, to see with God's eyes. From the transformation chamber, you're led to a beautiful mountaintop where great souls throughout history have gathered in council. Take your place on this mountaintop amongst the energy of those who have walked this path before you. Feel their support and understanding. They know intimately the challenge and the triumph of choosing love over revenge, as you have today. One by one, these great souls share their wisdom with you. The first speaks, love your enemies not because they deserve it, but because you do. You deserve the freedom that comes from an unburdened heart. Another offers, every time you choose love over hatred, you participate in divine nature. You become a co-creator with God in healing the world's wounds. A third shares, your enemy is your greatest teacher because they show you where love still needs to grow in your heart. They reveal the places where you are still becoming. And what a gift that is. Now it's your turn to speak in this council. Share your commitment to loving your enemy, not as weakness, but as the highest form of spiritual strength. Express your willingness to be an instrument of God's love in a world that desperately needs healing. The council responds with appreciation and recognition. You have joined the ranks of those who are actively participating in humanity's evolution toward greater love and unity. Before you leave this mountain, you're presented with a gift, a flame of divine love that will remind you of your commitment when facing your enemy becomes difficult. Receive this divine, sacred flame in your heart, feeling its warmth and strength. Descending now from the mountaintop, you find yourself at the edge of a great chasm that has long separated you from your enemy. But now, where once there was only empty space, a magnificent bridge spans the divide. A bridge of reconciliation. This beautiful bridge has been constructed from your willingness to forgive, your choice to love unconditionally, and your faith that God can work through all situations for good. It is solid and stunning, adorned with symbols of peace, understanding, and divine love. Begin walking across this bridge, feeling its stability beneath your feet. With each step, you are moving from separation to unity, from resentment to reconciliation, from human love to divine love. As you walk, you realize that this bridge exists not just between you and your enemy, but between all human beings who have forgotten their fundamental connection. Every step you take heals the divisions in our world. Halfway across the bridge, you pause and look back at the person you were before beginning this journey. Someone who carried the burden of hatred or resentment. Feel compassion for that version of yourself, understanding that they were doing their best with their level of consciousness and love at that time. You continue walking and notice that as you near the other side, your enemy is also walking toward you on the same bridge. In this space, the truth of your connection becomes undeniable. You are both seeking love, both learning to forgive, both growing toward your divine potential. When you meet in the middle of the bridge, you embrace not just your enemy, but the part of yourself that is capable of unconditional love. This embrace heals not only your relationship, but contributes to the healing of all human relationships. Together, you complete the crossing, arriving on the other side as fellow pilgrims on the path of love rather than as adversaries. The separation that once seemed so real has been revealed as an illusion. You were never truly separate. It is now time to return to your ordinary life, but you're bringing with you a completely transformed understanding of what it means to love your enemies and participate in humanity's spiritual evolution. As you prepare to return to the world, carry within you the divine love given to you by God, a constant reminder that you are capable of loving as God loves. Walk back toward your daily reality, but notice that the path you're taking is different from the one that brought you here. This is the path of an awakened heart, where enemies become teachers and conflict becomes opportunity for growth. Envision how you'll interact with your enemy differently now. See yourself responding to their difficult behavior with compassion rather than reactivity, meeting their attacks with understanding rather than counterattack. This doesn't mean becoming a doormat or tolerating abuse. It means maintaining healthy boundaries while holding space for the possibility of their transformation, praying for their highest good, even while protecting your own well-being. Imagine specific scenarios where you'll have the opportunity to practice this divine love. See yourself choosing to bless rather than curse, to pray for rather than plot against, to hope for their healing rather than their downfall. Feel how this transformation in you ripples outward, affecting not just your relationship with this one person, but influencing every relationship in your life. You are becoming a more loving presence in the world. Begin to become aware of your physical body now, feeling yourself supported by divine love. Your heart expanded with supernatural compassion. Your soul aligned with God's purpose for your life. Take a deeper breath in, drawing in the strength you'll need to live this level of love in a world that often chooses hatred. Feel yourself preparing to be an agent of reconciliation and healing. Gently move your fingers and your toes, feeling the life force that connects you to every other human being, including those that have hurt you. You are all a part of the same divine family. When you feel ready, you may slowly open your eyes, returning to the present moment while carrying within you the unshakable knowing that love is always the answer, always the way forward, always the path to freedom, and always the path to God. Take a moment to rest in this transformed state, knowing that you have aligned yourself with the highest purpose of human existence, learning to love as God loves, unconditionally and transformatively. So here is your first post-visualization journaling prompt. What insights did you receive in this visualization about the purpose this challenging relationship serves in your spiritual growth? How has your perspective on this person shifted through seeing them with God's eyes? And again, you can pause to answer these prompts. Second prompt. What did you experience when divine love flowed through you toward your enemy? How did it feel to choose love beyond conditions? And what resistance or fears did you notice arising? And the third prompt, what specific actions will you take this week to practice loving your enemy in real life? How will you maintain healthy boundaries while still holding space for their potential transformation and your continued growth in God's love? My Richies, I want you to remember that loving your enemies is not a one-time decision, but a daily practice that is transforming all of us into an instrument of God's love. And each time you choose compassion over retaliation, forgiveness over resentment, and just blessing others over cursing them and disrespecting them, you participate in the divine work of healing our world, one thought, one feeling, one action at a time, working together to evolve our human consciousness towards its highest potential, which is turning everyone's eyes, ears, and hearts to God. It means so much to have your time and attention, especially through what have been the delicate weeks of September that have been so painful and so arduous and so full of division and just misunderstanding and lack of communication and love and respect for our fellow man. And I don't know about you, but I am just so sick of sitting by scared. And I hope that this guided visualization just helps you to be able to work on the healings of hatred and misunderstanding and judgment and injustice that we keep in ourselves for those that are not like us. It's a really scary world out there, and we don't need to contribute with something as easy as forgiveness and something as easy as letting go of resentment when we get down to the brass tacks of it. We have to be grateful for the time we are given, and I really think that gratitude can set us free, especially when we understand what is at stake if we hold on to resentment and hatred within our heart. My Richies, it is an absolute pleasure and honor to have your time and attention. I hope you have a wonderful day and week ahead. And as always, make life rich. God bless.